If your players' backstories don't affect play, they're not backstories. They're just fan fiction you politely ignored. Hey everyone, I'm Zaklis, a D&D Dungeon Master and World Builder. In earlier videos, I talked about PC-driven campaigns as a delivery style and character creation and integration as a campaign design step. This video is connected to those concepts. I'm going to talk about two things I use in my own campaigns. I call them backstory traits and identity-driven character creation. Yeah, weird names, I know. These are not systems to simply copy. They must be understood first in order to be used. Let's dive in. Most backstories get written, skimmed, and quietly ignored once the play starts. The campaign moves on, and the character's past just sit there unused. So I started treating backstories as fuel instead of flavor. Each character gets one extra thing tied directly to who they were before the campaign. A feature, an item, an upgrade, whatever fits their story. For example, this one character, Pyro, was a shifter fighter whose story involved betrayal, imprisonment, and brutal experimentation by a wizard. Instead of inventing something new, I mutated an ability he already had. His shifter transformation became much stronger and more savage, but it came at a cost. To trigger it, he had to hurt himself, and every time he used it, he rolled a very difficult wisdom save. On failure, he couldn't tell friend from foe. And early on, the only way to stop him was to knock him unconscious. Over the course of his character arc, the ability evolved, control improved, and when he finally confronted his past, it reached its final tier. Power remained, while the loss of control disappeared. It was all about his arc, not XP or the number of times used, but the resolution of his backstory. Other characters looked completely different. One gained access to forbidden knowledge and utility, but slowly decayed as a person. Another received an evolving weapon tied to her profession rather than her trauma. Different executions, same philosophy. Backstory traits are not meant to be rewards. They are tools for character development and story progression. This process is always optional for my players, and it works best with experienced ones. The rule is simple. They do not choose class, they do not choose race, and they do not write full backstories. Instead, they show up to session 0 with two things prepared. First, a vague, shareable draft of a backstory, something incomplete and safe to say out loud. Second, and more important, who this person is when they walk in a room, how they dress, how they speak, how they carry themselves, what people feel after meeting this character. The player presents and then sits back. Everyone else at the table, including me as the DM, gives their first impressions, suggests some races and classes, and explains them. My friend introduced Mr. Harlow, a charismatic, clever, middle-aged gentleman in fine but well-worn clothes. He's a traveling merchant whose shop exists inside a magical suitcase that has been in his family for 9 generations. No race, no class. Most people pictured small races. Goblin and Deep Gnome came up the most. The class suggestions were split mainly between rogue and bard, until someone said, "What about genie warlock and the suitcase is the lamp?" That's how Mr. Harlow became a deep gnome genie warlock. Not because it was optimal, but because it fit. The player could have rejected it. He didn't. He loved it. This isn't the table deciding the character for the player. The character is already there. We're just figuring out what race and class actually fit. Now the part people usually skip. Everything I talked about so far relies on judgment. You're making calls the rules can't protect. And if someone copies this without understanding why, they will create favoritism, imbalance, or resentment. Not maybe, Definitely. Backstory traits are extra. They are privileges, not rights. Progression will be uneven. One character's arc may move for 10 sessions while another one freezes. Narratively, that's fine. Some players won't like it though, especially those who want guarantees or think fairness is the same as symmetry. That's not a bad thing, it's just a compatibility issue. All this works only if your players trust your judgment. You need consistency, taste, and the spine to say this fits, this doesn't. I vet players hard, that's why this hasn't been a problem for me so far. I'm not trying to be arrogant here, just realistic. If you're going to try this, be honest about your table and yourself as a DM. If you take anything from this video, don't take the mechanics, take the philosophy. These ideas works only when you understand why you're using them. If you don't, they'll look clever for a few sessions and then quietly break your campaign. Judgment comes before systems, always. If this sparked ideas, good. If it made you uncomfortable, also good. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.